Athletes overcome brutal conditions to compete in this year's Abu Dhabi International Triathlon. And we get insight into why so many triathletes are taking their training indoors. TriCenter starts now. Welcome to TriCenter, the world's #1 triathlon news show. I'm Ann Wessling. The effects of the 8.9 magnitude earthquake that rocked Japan have been felt around the world, including in one of the most iconic triathlon towns, Kona, Hawaii. While the damage along famed Ali'i Drive pales in comparison to the cleanup needed in Japan, it has left the small Hawaiian community rattled. Local pro triathlete Bree Wee wrote about the destruction on her blog, saying the damage that has been done to the town, restaurants, a few hotels, a condo falling into the ocean, and a couple rentals that are now floating shacks will leave us cleaning up for a while and, of course, dipping into an already financially challenged little island. But we are well off and in a better situation than Japan. Thanks for the prayers from far and wide. We'll keep you up to date on the repair efforts. Another community still regrouping from a tragic natural disaster is Haiti. An estimated 2,000 Haitians became amputees as a result of last year's earthquake. And the Challenged Athletes Foundation traveled there last week with a mission of using sports to help heal the community. The group spent time getting to know the amputees and even held an international running clinic. Moving on to racing news, in only its second year of existence, the Abu Dhabi International Triathlon has become one of the most prominent triathlons in the world, attracting the sport's top talent. It was an early start to the day, with participants preparing in transition before sunrise. The athletes swam 3 kilometers in a lagoon shadowed by the world-famous Emirates Palace Hotel, biked 200K around Abu Dhabi, hitting hotspots like the Yas Marina Formula One circuit, and then ran 20 kilometers to the finish line. In the men's race, Sylvain Sudri led the men out of the swim, but was quickly followed by several athletes, losing his lead before exiting T1. Early charges on the bike came from both Faris Al-Sultan and Bjorn Andersen, but it was Anders Starkowitz who held a significant lead heading onto the run. As Starkowitz faded under the sun, Frederik van Lierde, Marino van Hohenacker, Dirk Bockel, and Reynard Tissink excelled. In the end, it was Van Lierde pulling out the surprise victory with a time of 6:43.14. The trio of Van Hohenacker, Bockel, and Tissink finished within 33 seconds of Van Lierde.
Sports career, one of the greatest days of my life. I wasn't expecting to win here, especially with the field you saw. So it's when you have a great day, there's a lot possible.
In the women's race, Britain's Julie Dibbins and Leanda Cave swam side by side and pulled out of transition in unison. That was as close as the women's race would get, though, as Dibbins established her dominance on the bike and sealed the deal with steady run to close out the day. Ironman World Championship runner-up Carolyn Steffen replicated that finish in second. Scotland's Catriona Morrison earned the final podium spot.
Spent a couple hours in a medical tent, but that's what racing's all about. It's laying it on the line and giving 100% no matter what place you're finishing in.
This weekend's big race will be Ironman 70.3 San Juan in Puerto Rico. Don't miss our exclusive training day feature with one of the San Juan competitors, triathlon legend McKeely Jones. Head over to triathlete.com for the video. And shifting from racing gears to training gears, I'd like to welcome a familiar face, Mr. Matt Fitzgerald. How are you, buddy?
Doing very well, thank you.
Good. I see you have the latest edition of Inside Triathlon magazine, and one of the interesting articles in there is about how a lot of pros are shifting their focus training indoors on the bike. Why is that?
I'm not sure exactly why it is. Triathletes have been cycling indoors forever, but it's become this trend where a lot of the elite names in the sport, Andy Potts, Tyler Stewart, are doing almost all of their riding indoors. It could simply be that the likes of Andy Potts got great results from it. And as we know, triathlon training tends to be a copycat sort of thing. So if it works for someone, pretty soon others are going to try it too, find that it works for them, and that could be where the trend started.
So what do you suggest for the mind-numbing, monotonous indoor ride? Something to keep it exciting.
You know, it seems like what all of these people do is they make a game of it by focusing on numbers. So if you have the kind of indoor trainer like a Cyclops that gives you data such as your power output, your cadence, things like that, you focus on those numbers and create structured workouts similar to the types of workouts people do in the pool, which is sort of a monotonous environment. So you make a game of it, you focus on the numbers, and that's what sort of it's what gets you through the boredom or prevents boredom, but it's also what makes a more effective workout as well.
But the numbers have shown that it actually does perhaps make a stronger rider.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the likes of Andy Potts, who's capable of riding a 2:04 bike split in a half Ironman distance race, I mean, that's just flying. And until very recently, he did zero training in outdoors. So the numbers do speak for themselves.
They said he did some. There is something to say for training on the surface that you will be riding on, correct?
That's right, yeah. Obviously, you can't completely, you're racing outdoors, so you have to do some of your training outdoors as well. You can't duplicate the elements. You can't duplicate matters of real hills versus simulated hills, things like that. So it is interesting that although Andy Potts was riding 100% outdoors until 2 seasons ago, he did start incorporating some outdoor riding, and he feels that that combination of maybe 70% indoors, 30% outdoors is the sweet spot.
Great. Well, everybody can learn more about that on the latest edition of Inside Triathlon magazines on newsstands now.
That's right.
Thanks so much for coming along, Matt. All right, that's our show for today. We'll see you next time with a preview of the Ironman 70.3 California Triathlon. In the meantime, catch up with us on Twitter at Triathlete Mag. Thanks so much for joining us. Clearly you're not a McDonald's frequenter.